Okay, like you're working on a solo and you play something that you really like, but they don't like it. How to handle that if you are funny. Like they say, I don't really dig that, you know, and you say, well, I don't dig your fucking face.
Does that work for you?
With certain people, because then they laugh and it lightens the mood a little bit and everybody's not so serious for just 5 seconds.
Today's episode is sponsored by Gator Cases. Guitarists, like any other musician, value the advantages of proper protection for their gear. Guitars, amps, effects, and accessories all need safe transport and storage. Luckily, Gator's got you covered.
Starting to play out some, so.
Are session guitar players going to be a dying breed, or do you see like another generation coming up that can take it over?
There are so many great players coming up all the time that I see. I think
is there going to be an industry for it?
Boy, that's a good question. I think about that more for them because I mean I've had a pretty long career at this point. I think by the point that it's really impacting us in a way that we don't know yet. I don't see that coming very soon. But let's face it. I mean, technology's getting so good, and we know about things like AI. I don't know where they're going, but I can guarantee this: the people at the top never want to pay anybody for anything. So if they can use something that they don't have to pay to make great music and that goes out there and does what they need. Yeah, they don't need us. So I don't know where that leaves us, you know. But I don't think I just don't know that that's realistic or not. People, whether they know it or not, react more still to man-made music than computer-made music for the long haul, in my opinion. We're still listening to all the records we were listening to that are 60 years old.
Yeah.
A lot. I don't know.
You said in the Rig Rundown video that you don't use an amp switcher because the time it takes to switch amps with a cable gives you a minute to think about what you're going to play. Did you say that in jest, or is that really your thought process? You could easily have an amp switcher if you wanted one.
Yeah.
Why not have one?
Well, I probably should have one, but it was half in jest and half serious because, man, I don't think you should sit there in the chair and slave away the whole time. You can get worn down. So even having that just 30-second standing up out of the chair and
is a good thing.
Is a good thing. As soon as I sit back down, my mind's a little more clear, and I'm ready to breathe fresh air into the next part. You know, and I mean, they're session players. We talk about little things like that all the time. Things you just.
Is there another one that you can think of that that's a good session trick that everyone should be doing?
Yeah, like for instance, when somebody says something like, okay, like you're working on a solo, and you play something that you really like, but they don't like it in there, but they don't know what they want. Okay, how to handle that if you are funny, like if they say, I don't really dig that, you know, and you say, well, I don't dig your fucking face. I'm gonna give you a playlist on your face. With certain people, because then they laugh and it lightens the mood a little bit, and everybody's not so serious for just 5 seconds, and then we go back at it, and maybe I play almost the same exact thing, but I change a couple notes about it, because I mean, to me, it's like it's really not that they don't. Sometimes they don't like it, and you're just doing the wrong thing, but that's evident, and you just try something completely different. But when you know you're onto something that they just need to hear again, it's more about the familiarity.
So will they ever say, I don't like that, play something else? And do you ever play the same thing and they go, that's it?
I have done that a couple times and that's worked, but that generally doesn't go. They're smarter than that. But yeah, no, a lot of times something that you can do, and I don't advise this, and they're usually too smart for this, is like, okay, totally abandon that idea. And then the next thing you're going to play just isn't as spontaneous. And then you try a couple things and you go, man, can we just listen to that first one again? And then when they hear it again, they hear how inspired you were. And then they like it. because now we've tried some other things that they maybe just, man, that your instincts were right and I wasn't caught up to you. Sometimes the producer isn't thinking about it like you are, and you're in it deeper in that moment. And sometimes they just need a break too and hear something else. And then when they come back to that first thing you did, oftentimes that ends up being
that's the one. How important is your EQ pedal and how do you use it on sessions?
That is hugely important. I used to get weird sounds, drastic EQ moves, like only mids all the way up, or everything else all the way off, or sometimes I use it as a, the boost for, like when you have 90% of your sound is working, but if you find you're turning yourself up in the headphone box more to hear yourself, that means there's frequencies that aren't working. That doesn't mean you need to be louder in your phones. So then I start, okay, why can't I hear myself? It's usually somewhere in the low end. Start carving out low end, or low mids, or sometimes doing counterintuitive moves like drastically boosting a low mid frequency and taking a bass frequency away. I use it to help me if I'm not reaching for that and I'm using this to hear myself better, I'm probably getting a better tone for that song in that mix.
How do you dial it in? Like, do you identify the frequency in your head and then you find it, or do you just kind of start moving the levers until the tone pops out?
I used to just blind, like somebody blind, like what's going to work? I don't know. But your ear develops over time, and even if I don't know the exact frequency that needs to come up, I know whether it's a high, mid, or low frequency, and so I can just kind of go, okay, that needs to be better. Maybe it's that I'm playing a Strat that really doesn't push any mids, and so I'll just bump some mids on that guitar for that part, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Rob, take us home with something. Give us a little noodle to take us out of here on the 68 Les Paul. What was that one little bend? You were bending the major third or the minor third into the major third a little bit on that.
Yeah, I kind of screwed it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it well.
No, it sounded great. That's always a great move.
I meant to do that. Yeah. Like,
that's always a great move, right?
It always is a good move to me.
That's always a good move.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up here with Rob McNelley, 4-time ACM Guitar Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks for taking the time and coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll do it again.
Zach, anytime.
Great.
If you want to check out some of the licks that Rob is playing in this interview, you can get all of that plus a bunch of other great guitar lessons on my Patreon. Everything's tabbed out. Check it out. Link in the pinned comment.